Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is Brandon Green, owner of Gold Element Autoworks. I have here a common issue with the S Class. This is a W221 S550 from year 07, I think, to like 13. So I've had this issue on a previously owned vehicle, and this is a vehicle that a owner has brought to me where the hood would not pop open. Now, I've come across this problem before. I resolved it one other way, and this is a new way of resolving it. I watched a previous YouTuber's video on how you have to remove the wheel on the side that will not release and remove the inner lining, the wheel lining, the plastic lining, the fender lining, whatever. Remove that, and there's an access point that you have to run a long rod to, and you have to either push or tug. Now, keep in mind that on these models, on most Mercedes models, S classes, there are two releases, one right here and one right here. In this case, it was the driver's side that would not release. Now, he was swapping out his grill, so he already had the grill, the original grill, removed, but this side would not release. So the difference in this situation and the previous situation is that the grill was in place. So in this case, with the grill removed, which will be a rare instance unless you decide to break your grill to get access to this point, this will not apply to you. Again, if your grill is in place and you do not want to destroy your grill, you have to go in through the wheel well. You have to remove the inner wheel lining, the plastic lining, and you have to access it that way. You have to run a long cable, a long rod through here. Through here, there's an access point once you remove the inner lining, and it will allow you to reach through here and to activate, to do what the cable is supposed to do. The cable on the passenger side pulls this way. It releases it by pulling this way. On the passenger driver's side, it's the same thing. It pulls it this way. You even have an arrow that tells you which direction that the cable is pulling. Same thing here. It's pulling this way. This is how you install this, because the cable connects here. It pulls this way. All right. Now, the access point on the driver's side is through, let me see. It's through here. All right, it's through there. It's hard to see, but through there, when you shine a flashlight, what you will see, you see it right there? It's silver, right? That is where the cable is supposed to connect to. There's a spring. You can see the two lines in between that separation. That is a spring that is supposed to keep that cable attached to that lever, that mechanism. It pulls, and that way it releases the hood. If for some reason that cable comes out of there, then it will not release it. Let me show you up close. Well, first of all, that is the access point with the grill removed. If you decide to break the grill to get access to it, that's the location, okay? That's your access point. Again, you can see it right there, perfect. There you go. That's what you need to access. You need to get a long flathead screwdriver. In my case, I use one of these right here, this tool right here. You can use a long enough flathead screwdriver, but you need to push that, and that will release it. In this case, you still see that, you can see the same access point, but in this case, you have to pull it. You don't push it, you pull. And in this case, you have the cable that's still right there, that's still present. You might be able to grab that cable and pull it, but if it's disconnected, you cannot. So you have to use a similar modified rod or something like that that has an angle tip that allows you to pull. In this case, I'm allowed to pull with that. I can either pull or push, but you have to come up with something to reach in there. You only have to reach as far as from here to here, so it's not that far, but you need to grab You need to pull that. Now let me show you what this looks like. I already removed the screws. These are two 10mm screws. This is what it looks like. This is what you were seeing through that small window. Is that right there? You see, it pulls this way like that. That cable is right there. It was disconnected. That cable attaches to this. The spring keeps tension on the cable, on the bell of the cable right there, and keeps it in place. So I got to run that cable back through. Why did it dislodge? Why did it come out of there? I don't know. Check the tension of that spring. Make sure it's tension. Sometimes that little spring right there can wear out and no longer keep tension. But in this case, it's good. So I don't know why. That cable somehow slipped out of there. I'll look over it again before I reattach it. I'll test it out before I close this hood. But now the owner is able to finish installing his new grill. So these are issues that you might run into. You can run into it on the W221 or even on the the C216, which is the coupe version of this. It's the same design. You can run across the same issue with other models that Mercedes makes. But just know that Mercedes is consistent with their designs. If it is two of these, which I think Mercedes does use most of the time, two cables that run from the release cable up underneath the dash on the driver's side near the left knee. You pull on that and it doesn't release both cables. Typically, that's the issue. Either that cable has dislodged from this, or it is too loose and needs assistance, that extra tug. Sometimes people break those levers trying to get that extra tug. Usually that means the cable is worn out or it's no longer secure. You see, it runs across this channel up underneath and it is secure. It is held in place at a certain angle so that when it pulls, there's enough leverage there and enough tension that it releases. Sometimes if it drops from that secured fitting or whatever is holding it in place, it can lose some of that tension that's needed. And that's something else that you have to consider. But yeah, that's a little trick on how to get access to the W221 S Class, in this case S550 08. But yeah, 07 through 14, 07 through 13. That's how you can access the hood release mechanism. Hey, real quick, I also forgot to mention that in order to keep this cable secure and attached to this, it utilizes not just this spring right here that keeps tension on the bell of the cable, right? Not just that piece right there, but also this plastic piece. I have seen this plastic piece wear out just over time and being pulled over and over again. This right here that catches can break off. I've seen that separate, all right? But in this case, it's not broken, it's not damaged, all right? It goes right here. Now this is metal, this is plastic. Sometimes that tension can give way over time. It is plastic to metal. So that piece right there goes in here. It fits right in there perfect. And then the metal, the actual cable, with the, like I said, the bell right there goes into where the spring keeps it in place. If it drops out of here, if that plastic piece drops out of there, if this dislodges, it comes out, pops out, falls out, for whatever reason, then this will be ineffective. And when you pull, it will pull it away from the holder or that spring. So that plastic has to stay in here to keep it in line so that this right here perfectly pulls this way, all right, horizontally. If it falls out of the secure holder right there, then it will dangle and it can easily pull against that spring and release it. So that's likely what happened. Now on the previous one that I fixed, that I repaired, see, it's easy if that angle isn't right for it to pull out of that spring, for that tension. In order, instead of pulling straight back this way, it'll pull down and then we'll pull that spring out of the way. So that's easy to imagine. If this right here, again, just to reiterate, if this piece right here falls out of what holds it in place, if it drops down this way, then it will change the angle of the pull, and that tug can actually pull it out of its secured place right there with the spring. All right, there we go. So that's likely what happened. Now, the previous issue that I had with the other S-Class, it would not stay in place. To prevent that from happening again, I ran a small zip tie on both of them. I didn't want it to happen again, so I put it on both of them, the passenger and the driver's side. I ran a zip tie to keep this up, to keep this secured to this. The way to do it is just run it and then loop it across here and make sure it's not a real oversized zip tie, but make sure it's a good zip tie, small enough where it doesn't interfere with the security of this right here when you reinstall it. But yeah, that's what I wound up doing. I think I ran it through this gap right here and here. I ran it down after I attached the cable, of course, and I kept that from ever dropping out of there again. So that's a little trick. Forgot to mention that. So after you fix it and reinstall it, test it out. All right, lock it. Make the car think the hood is closed. All right, do that again. All right, there you go. So before you close this hood, make sure that the fix was effective. You're good to go, baby. You're good to go.
My problem is, I know you got one.
You wet, bro. Hey, man, people always want to use your stuff, bro. I'm coming over here so I can repair your car and then ask for my stuff. Hey, you supposed to come prepared.
I know you got one. Ain't no way you ain't got one.
I'm shutting down going out to Autoworks, man. I'm sick of this.
I know you got one.
I'm sick of this. I'm tired of helping people out.
God. How about that grill from you? You supposed to give me?
Nah, bro. I gave you the whole kit for this joint. Yeah, you're supposed to buy that. Yeah, and that's at an angle too. It's not flat. It's not flush. It's that one that like has a little bit of an angle to it. It's more flat this way, and then an angle. You know what I mean? Because of design. So I don't know what to tell you, homeboy.
You got one?
Huh?
You got one?
All right, I hooked him up. That's good. Let's zoom in. Hey, go on. There you go. All right. Perfect. Perfect. All right. He's back in business. Another satisfied customer. I guess I'll stay in business. Go to Autoworks. I'm out.